Hi guys, Vechs here. Welcome to another episode of Vechs Talks About. Today's topic is non-standard heroes in MOBAs, specifically, in this case, Abathur and Gazlowe in Heroes of the Storm, and the impact of meta expectations on your treatment as you play a non-standard hero. That was a mouthful, wasn't it? Well, it's a lot to take in, but it's more simple than you might think. Let's just get something out of the way up front. Gazlowe in Heroes of the Storm is my favorite hero in the game. I play him a lot. I have a 70% win rate with Gazlowe. He's this dude right here. And the reason I'm picking this specific game is I get to see an Abathur and a Gazlowe. I was being the Abathur, the Gazlowe was on the enemy team. Now, in this game, there's tanks, warriors, if you will, whose job it is to disrupt the enemy, knock them around, break up their formation, and while not doing the most damage, they are generally designed to cause havoc. Then there's assassins, which are mages, rangers, marksmen, heroes that are capable of dishing out lots of damage. And then there's supports, which are like this guy right here, Abathur, who's got 75,000 healing. They're the healers of the game, although not all of them have heals. Most of them do. Some of them can shield you, which is very similar to healing, and the end effect is roughly the same. And then in this game there are specialist heroes. These don't fit precisely into any given role. They're all unique, and some of them are kind of weird. And because of that, I found as I play both Gazlowe and Abathur, and I enjoy them because they are weird, they're non-standard, they're a breath of fresh air in your typical lineup of tank, support, carry / assassin. Basically tank, healer, damage dealer cliche in video games. The specialists are very unique in what they do, and they're all a little different, and I love playing them, except for Hammer. Sergeant Hammer, it seems, I keep trying her, and she kind of sucks. But anyway, that's besides the point. Now, I've noticed that when I play Gazlowe, I get harassed for, well, doing what Gazlowe's designed to do. He's a goblin with a backpack, and he's got a giant robotic backpack with buzzsaws and claws, and he's amazing at destroying enemy buildings, which is, in the end, the main objective of the game. You win this game by killing the enemy's base. The base is made up of a bunch of buildings, with one big building at the very end, and you're supposed to kill all those. Specifically the big one at the end. And if you look at siege damage, I've got this column here sorted by siege damage. This is damage dealt to enemy minions and enemy structures, as opposed to their heroes. Gazlowe is great at doing siege damage, and this Gazlowe here, honestly, his score usually, that looks like about what mine is in most games I play Gazlowe. I have a few more deaths usually because I play him very aggressively, and I will very often, as Gazlowe, attack an enemy's important building and destroy it while giving no thought to my own escape, and I'll basically linger to destroy the building and let my character get killed by the enemy. A lot of people see that and they harass me for it, and I always have to stop and explain to them that, unlike, say, League of Legends, getting killed in this game is not nearly as big of an impact, especially early game, because there's no gold or money. It's just a very tiny amount of experience in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, you don't want to just go in and die over and over and over and over again, because, yeah, that would eventually add up. But if you can trade your character's life for a structure, let me put it this way. Your character comes back to life after a few seconds. the structure, it's dead forever. And if you kill enough of the structures, you win the game. So naturally, if I can trade my character's life for something important, I do it every single time. And so many times now I've had to explain. Now, to this community's credit, once I do explain this, I say it's a cost-benefit analysis. I'm not just feeding. I'm making a calculated trade for my hero's life for this very important structure. And if I do this 3 or 4 more times, we're gonna win the game. There's 3. Well, usually there's 3 heavily fortified keeps, and then after that is the enemy's main core. And in most games you'll kill 2 or 3 keeps, and then you push on the core and kill that. So if I can slip past the enemy team and kill one of their 3 keeps and get killed doing it, and then I'm going to respawn and I'm going to watch the map and I'm going to wait, and as soon as I see an opening where they've wandered off from their enemy base, I'll run in and take another keep from them. And I do that, and when you kill the enemy's keeps in this game, it spawns super minions for your side on your team. So not only have you reduced their defenses, but now you have these permanently spawning super minions that are helping you fight, which further inhibits the enemy team's map presence because they have to pay more attention to their own base's defense. Because if one team has super minions spawning and the other team does not, eventually the super minions, if left to their own devices, will win the game for you. So every now and then a hero on the enemy team has to go deal with them, or they're going to lose the game. Now Abathur here, Abathur is a very weird hero, and he's harder to explain. Gazlowe's sort of like a melee mage guy that drops turrets on the ground and is amazing at killing enemy buildings and minions. But Abathur, he's sort of like a... He's really weird. He's really weird. He basically, for the most part, sits in your base, and he spawns minions out of his body, and these minions go to the nearest lane and attack the enemy. On top of that, he also can place I'm just going to call it a hat. He puts a hat on an allied hero, and that hat can shoot spikes out of it, and it can also put a shield on the allied hero. And depending on what talents you take, it can also do other things like heal them or make them... Wow, my lips smacked. That was odd. I've never done that before. Or make them run faster or do other beneficial things. Now, because he's always basically sitting in your base most of the time, and I'll get to the other time in a second, people don't really understand the impact he has. Now, if you look at the scoreboard here, I have the best siege damage on my team. Cool. Also have 7 takedowns and only 2 deaths. Usually Abathur doesn't get many deaths. But this match here, I was being harassed constantly by our Jaina player, and this guy right here, and our Kael'thas player. And I find it very amusing that the people who were harassing me have the most deaths and, compared to me, poor scores. I also have the most experience contribution to our team in the game. Kael'thas is down there at the bottom. Also hero damage, I'm in the middle of the pack, and I find it amusing that I, being this weird specialist, have more hero damage than Jaina, who is a frost mage and is capable of dropping down lots of very damaging spells very quickly and doing insane amounts of burst damage to enemy heroes. But like Extra Credits said, usually the players in a video game who are going to talk the most trash are the ones who are doing the poorest. They're flailing around, and generally you'll see them trying to divert attention from their own failures to other people so nobody notices how poorly they're doing. And I try very hard to refrain from antagonizing them, because it doesn't really help. I usually just tell them, don't be toxic, focus on the game. That's usually what I say. Although I did, at the end of this match, I told the Jaina to go back to League of Legends. She'd fit in much better there. I did say that. But this match, I think I did really good. We still lost, mostly because of this right here. They're healing, and they're, well, healing. We didn't have a healer, and they had an amazing healer, Abathur here. And their composition, for people that know the game better, 1, 2, 3, 4, because of her ult, and then Kale, I think, also. They had a lot of stuns, and they have a lot of burst damage on demand between Zagara and Kael'thas. And they have a healer, and they have a tank. We did not have a healer, and we didn't have a tank. So our team composition was just poor, and their composition was much better. So we were, from the very beginning, we were at a stiff disadvantage, but we held out for 27 minutes. We tried. But I notice I keep getting harassed when I play Abathur or Gazlowe, and it's always by people who don't have a good grasp of the game, and they just, it gets very trying sometimes. I can't count how many times on Gazlowe I've basically explained. And I personally, I blame League of Legends. People have come into this game expecting it to be a clone of League of Legends, and it's not. Heroes of the Storm is its own game. It's got its own unique tempo, and killing enemy players is not as important in this game as it is in Dota or League. It's not. And I think a lot of people expect the same sort of end game where you just clump up in a ball and you push. And that's, from my experience, not really how most games end. Especially on Gazlowe, it's more about quickly striking when you have an opening and taking something from the enemy team and then backing off. And while you're backing off, you go and get objectives on the map. And the objectives, don't worry about them too much, but they can help you win the game, and they're scattered around the map. And if you're not directly fighting the enemy team, it's usually a good idea to go get an objective. Gazlowe is great at doing it. He can solo neutral bosses and get a lot of good stuff for your team. I always solo bosses on Gazlowe. It's a huge help to the team. But if you do play this game and you pick these non-standard heroes, don't be surprised when people start harassing you. It's a combination of servile cowardice on their part to not take responsibility for their own failures, and if they see a scapegoat, they'll try and make you a scapegoat to divert attention from themselves, like what this player Zen and the player Loki here did, trying to scapegoat me to divert attention from their own shortcomings. And also just harmless ignorance, like they just don't understand the game yet. And that second part, you can't blame them, and the best thing you can try to do is just teach them about the character you're playing and tell them, well, I'm doing this because my character is designed to play this role, and you're not used to it yet because you maybe haven't seen this kind of character in previous similar games. But be prepared to have to do that. And it does get taxing. Ugh. Brr. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. Halfway I wanted to vent about it, and the other half is I want to tell people, other people playing this game, I assume once it's out of beta it'll get pretty popular. I think it's going to take a decent bite out of the League of Legends audience, especially people who like the idea of not having to worry about gold, last-hitting items. Maybe the lane meta is not really as... It's a fresh game, and so there's less of an idea of the meta. Like, you'll never get... I haven't seen people saying, oh, this character can't go to this lane. Like, it hasn't come to that yet, thankfully, and I hope it never does. The only lane assignment I can really think of is actually Gazlowe, because he can hop into neutral territory and take neutral minions. On maps that have mirrored bosses, you typically want your Gazlowe on the lane that has your boss near it, so you can quickly jump to it, take it, and get back in his lane. But beyond that, Anyway, last thing is, you're wondering how I figured out my win rate. It doesn't say on here. You just come into your profile summary, and Gazlowe here, I've got 132 games, and then you go to Hero Collection and click on Gazlowe, and I have 92 wins out of 132 games. So I think I'm doing pretty solid with him. He's level 12. I've got him up to level 12 to give you some idea how much I've played this dude. But anyway, that's it. Beware if you play a specialist, especially one of the ones that's really out there, like Nazebo is a specialist, for example, Nazebo, and so is where's Zagara at? Zagara, where are you? I can't. Do I have her unlocked? I'm blind. Like Nazebo is a ranged specialist, and seriously, where's Zagara? People are like yelling at me already. I can feel it. She's right there. There she is. She's right there. Yeah, Zagara is another specialist. To be perfectly honest, like Nazebo and Zagara, and also Sylvanas, who I don't have unlocked at the moment. Like, these three specialists play... Like, Sylvanas is an archer. If you played Ashe in League of Legends, Sylvanas even has a big arrow she shoots out as one of her ultimates. I mean, come on. So she's a specialist, but she feels more like just a... She's an archer. There's nothing weird about her. She shoots arrows at people. That's it. Zagara is a mage, and so is Nazebo. Like, they're called specialists, but they fit within very comfortable roles. Like, they're there, they cast spells at you, and Zagara's spells are bugs, but they're still spells. You know, instead of a fireball, she shoots bugs at you and they hurt you. But that's it. You know, there's nothing really weird about her. And Nazebo, like, he's got a wall he can put down to trap you. Honestly, very similar to Vigar's wall if you played League. And he throws spiders at you, which damage you. And he shoots out a cone move, and instead of being like a cone of lightning or a cone of fire, it's a cone of poisonous frogs. But it's still very standard direct attack moves, is what I'm trying to say. But people like Gazlowe and, honestly, Azmodan... Well, no, Azmodan is basically a mage. Yeah, Azmodan's a mage, too. He's got direct attack moves, and he summons pets. And even though he's a specialist, he's not one of the really weird ones. But yeah, Gazlowe and Abathur, they're the weird ones. Also Murky. Where's Murky at? Murky, yeah, there he is. Murky's kind of a weird one. But I think most people realize at this point that Murky, he's very weak, but he puts an egg down, and when he dies, he respawns at that egg after a few seconds, and his lot in life is to kamikaze himself into the team into the enemy team and cause as much damage and havoc as he can, and then die. Like, he's a character intended to die more often than normal characters. You still obviously don't want to feed with him, but he's designed to die a lot more than usual, and people know that, so they're not going to talk too much crap about you if they see you dying with Murky. So yeah, anyway, that's it. Be sure to check out Heroes of the Storm when it gets out of beta. I think, especially with the new versus AI mode right here, you can check that box and it'll just be you, AI teammates against enemy AI teammates. If you don't want to deal with some of the stress that can accompany playing against people and having real people on your team, and you just want to fight bots with bots versus AI, check that box, click play, and I think you can have a lot of fun for free, because it's going to be a free-to-play game. And I have not spent any money unlocking heroes. What you've seen here, all these people I've unlocked, I've done it with, you click this button, and as you play the game, you get gold. You just get gold for playing, and then you unlock heroes with gold, and well, there you go. Oh, and a cool thing too is your skins for your heroes. You can pay money and get like that skin, but once you get level 10 with a hero, you can pay gold and get the master skin for you know, in-game gold, not real money. And this is the master skin for, that's how he starts, and then you get the master skin. He looks awesome. Look at that. He's got shoes now. That's my favorite thing, is he gets shoes. I had to get this sucker to level 10 to give him some shoes. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Thanks for listening to me ramble and vent. Until next time, as always, be nice to people on your team, and take it easy.